Level up your LA Kings experience with Vivid Seats Elite Seats. All the on-ice Kings action with even more exclusive access and rewards. Enjoy great seats to the game in Section 103 along with Yamava Club access and parking included with your purchase. Plus, get a free Team LA Kings shop item at the game. Score your Vivid Seats Elite Seats tickets today and earn perks on each purchase from the only leading ticket company with a rewards program. Experience it live with Vivid Seats, the official partner of the LA Kings. Did you know the LA Kings have their own culinary partner? It's Superfood, celebrating 10 years and over 1 million meals served. Since 2020, the Kings have trusted Superfood to fuel their players. Now through Simply Lunch, you can bring that same performance-driven food to your office. Because when people eat better, they work better. Visit mysuperfood.com. That's mysuperfd.com. Or call 213-973-6145. Qualified companies can enjoy a free lunch for up to 10 managers.
You're listening to All the Kings Men, the official podcast of the LA Kings. Now, here's your host, Jesse Cohen.
Welcome back, Kings fans, to a brand new episode of All the Kings Men. Joining us today, associate coach of your LA Kings, Phil Housley. How are you doing today, Phil?
I'm doing quite well. How are you guys doing?
Good, thank you. And featuring Zach Dooley. How are you doing today, Zach?
Jesse, I'm doing great. Excited to chat with you guys and get into it a little bit. It's been boring here in July.
Yeah. Well, these are the dog days of summer, no question. Phil, first question for you is: Do you know how close you were to becoming an LA King as a player?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I was reminded quite a few times by Jerry Korab.
Yeah. Yes.
Which, that pick, he was involved in the trade that gave Buffalo the sixth pick overall in 1982. But he then came and played with Buffalo with me, and I was actually his partner. So yeah. He was. I know he was sour because when I played my first year with the Sabres down in LA, he was not happy. He was trying to get after me, but I just said, "Hey, man, it's not my fault. You should go after Scotty." But yes, I did. It was very fortunate to be able to go to Buffalo.
Yeah, for those who don't know, the LA Kings could have had Larry Murphy, Jay Wells, Phil Housley, and Ray Bourque all on the roster at the same time. But a couple of trades of draft picks, and Phil Housley winds up in Buffalo. But it worked out for you. You are inducted into the Hall of Fame, so I'm sure no hard feelings on your part.
No. I mean, when I originally went to the draft in Montreal in '82, I had no idea that he traded that Jerry for the first pick. And actually, you got 3 picks that year in '82, the 6th pick, the 9th pick, and the 11th pick, which Dave Andrechuk and Paul Sear were involved in that draft in the first round. He wanted to rebuild Buffalo, that's for sure.
I guess we got a full circle moment now. So you're finally here in LA after all these years. So you coached with Peter, for a number of years in different cities. How did he reach out to you about the opportunity with the Kings, and what excited you about coming to LA after the draft day snag?
Lavi and I have always had good communication, throughout the time we were let go in New York. And we just, catch up just like anything. And he was thinking about getting back into it. He was getting anxious, and I said, "Hey, I'll listen to anything if you hear of anything." So we kept that communication going, and then it was coming to fruition a little bit towards the end of May, where he talked to several teams, but he really wanted to get to LA, and I was happy he did because I'm really excited to get to LA. I love the setup there. The practice facility, where it is, it's close to, the airport and what they do. And just going down to the crypto just for the games is awesome. It's a great setup. And, I was there for development camp. I was really excited. Didn't get to meet anybody, but we've had, Lavi and I have had some success. We went to the finals in Nashville. We won a President's Trophy. We're 2 games away from getting to the finals in New York. So I really feel comfortable working with him. I love his system. I love his energy, his motivation, coming to work every day. He's an easy guy to work with, and he demands a lot, but hey, that's every head coach has got to have some priorities and some expectation, but he's just been great to work with.
I've got two follow-ups on that one, Phil. The first one is you mentioned the practice facility, and this is a question I'm just curious about. The practice facility, I don't remember what year it was built in, but it's got to be at least 25, 26 years old now. It's been revamped, it's been updated, it's been changed. The Lakers used to share the facility. They moved out. Keck Medical moved in. How does it compare in 2026 to other practice facilities around the league? It still feels modern to me, but I wonder now that other teams have had a chance to build their own.
Well, for my first time being there at development camp at the end of May, or excuse me, at the end of June, I thought it was perfect. Like the setup of the locker rooms, the coaches' offices. I think it's really advantageous to have two surfaces, ice surfaces. Especially we don't have a long camp this year. We'll be able to work on things in one rink, move over to the next rink to have a fresh sheet of ice, especially when you're working on special teams. But I love the two sheets. I mean, it has a tremendous advantage. You're always going to get fresh ice, and especially when you get camp coming and there's a lot of bodies going on the ice. It's tough when you have one ice surface because then you're going to have to resurface and wait, and that takes time. So as far as comparing it to other places, I think it's awesome. It's close to everything, and I know that they may do some things in the near future. Just hearing rumors. So, but I thought it was a great setup.
Second question: you've been an assistant coach, you've been a head coach, and you've been an associate coach. You're hired here as an associate coach. As a longtime fan, growing up, I never heard the phrase associate coach before. I think the first time I can remember hearing it was when John Stevens was named associate coach to Daryl Sutter. And in my mind, that meant, oh, he's an assistant coach who's been sort of promised the head coaching job if it opens up. But I'm sure it's more complicated than that. So in your mind, having served all three roles, what is the difference between an assistant coach and an associate coach?
I think it's just a title. I mean, it's an elevated assistant coach position where I, gather a lot of information for Lavi and report directly to Lavi, and which I really like to do. I love, talking to the nutritionists. I love talking to the sports science. I like to be involved in that just to see and get a sort of grip or a handle around the group and what are their needs, really. And that's, you take that temperature on a day-to-day basis, and I report that information to Lavi. I also, I'm going to be helping out in the power play and the penalty kill. I mean, it's their baby, but I'm going to be involved in just watching meetings and maybe giving some input or advice, which because I've been around coaching for a long time now, and especially at this level. So I'm excited to work with Ray Whitney and Chris Height and Buckley, the goaltending coach, and Johnson, DJ. Those guys are good people. I'm looking forward to getting after it, and it's going to be coming here pretty shortly.
So it's a perfect segue because we talked with Lavi, I don't know, Jesse, a few weeks ago, and he gave a pretty in-depth breakdown of kind of roles and responsibilities within the staff. But what I really found interesting was the layers to everything, whereas you are running the defenseman, but Chris Height ran the defenseman before. He has experience there, and Ray's running the power play, but you've run a power play, and there's a lot of kind of joint work there, which I don't think is something we had really ever heard of here. Just kind of what is the focus of your day-to-day? How are you kind of manage your time? Because not only is it the on-ice stuff, but, Lavi talked about the nutrition and the sleep and all those areas that are important for you as well.
Well, obviously, it depends on the day, right? Practice day, I try to bump into as many guys as I can because I really like to see how they're feeling, how they're doing, where they're at, especially the defense, and which is a main priority, right? To try to, not only, just create a relationship, but, just get involved in their day-to-day lives and see what what makes them tick, So that'll require some video. That'll require some maybe some development or extra work after the rink or after practice. But then, before that, trying to get in and talking to the nutritionist, just to see if there's any concerns, any red flags, this is all about just trying to avoid injuries and the sports science, with the travel we have in LA, it can, it can tire the body out pretty, over the long haul. So we just got to make sure that we're doing the right things in practice, when we can really go hard, when we have to sort of let off the gas pedal and really listen to the athletic therapists and the sports science guys. So, and I'll take all that information and I'll give it, if there's something that, because Lavi, he's got a message for the day. He's got to oversee the whole organization. And I'm just trying to get him the nuggets he needs to make decisions on the day. So, that's going to be important for him. So he can focus on what he needs to do. And he'll certainly bump into everybody, but if there's anything that needs attention, I'll certainly report to him about that.
The game is evolving in so many ways. When I was a kid, you'd be lucky if a team had one assistant coach. Now, in 93, I think Barry Melrose had Cap Raider behind the bench with him, and that was it. Then in 2012, the Kings have power play coaches, penalty coaches. Talking to Todd McClellan, it sounded like Trent Yawney was sort of exclusively responsible for calling out D pairs in game. Mm-hmm. Jim Hiller had a similar relationship with DJ Smith, and I feel like DJ Smith said similar things about Matt Green. So is that the kind of bench that Peter Laviolette likes to run, and is that one of the responsibilities that you anticipate having yourself, is making the D pairs and calling them out mid-game and making adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, as long as I've known Lavi, he's allowed me to deploy the guys, in zones, offensive zone, D zone, face-offs, or just in the natural movement of the line changes to allow me just to run the D, which I really like. I think it would be tough for him, I think, to try to manage everything, because he's got to worry about the forwards, and then certainly not saying that he couldn't do it. But I think he's got to really focus on the matchups and the forwards, especially at home when you get the last change. Obviously, you can get your matchups a lot easier than you're on the road.
Phil, I've looked, done some reading on teams that you and Peter have coached, and the articles have said that, in certain situations, you're willing to deviate from your, base pairings. You have offensive zone, you might put two defensemen out who don't play together all the time, or same with the D zone. What is your philosophy on, set pairings that you like to go to versus more situational usage from time to time?
Well, I think that'll play itself out in camp, right? I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I mean, we got a veteran core back there. They know what they're doing. There might be tweaks, just to give it a new flavor sometimes, some new energy. But certainly if some guys are really going well and they're feeling it that game, certainly might put those guys out in the offensive zone. I think I'd like to try to be as fair as possible. Obviously, matchups, we're going to dictate that, but try to get as many ozone starts for everybody, unless it's in crunch time. Maybe we're down a goal. Maybe, we're trying to catch up in a game. So, or there might be just like a late draw in the offensive zone. So, and whoever's going that game, obviously we've got some talented players back there. And with the addition of Eric Gustafson as well, I really like the makeup of our D corps.
When Todd McClellan took over, I think it was Todd McClellan, he said that he didn't want to be told what to expect about certain players. He wanted to experience it firsthand, form his own opinion, not be too influenced by organizational, opinions in the past. You and Peter Laviolette and everybody else takes over as a coaching staff now with pairs and players already in fairly established roles. So like Mikey Anderson and Drew Doughty have been a pair for, 5 years, 4 years, whatever it is. Brant Clark and Joel Edmondson have been a pair. Cece and Dumoulin, it's only 1 year, but I mean, they were pretty established. So when you come into a new team, do you like to form your own opinions, or are you going to lean on those existing relationships on ice?
Well, I think off the bat, I mean, we've added some great additions to our team and really good people. And I'm not going to come in and just because I'm a new associate coach that just to make changes. I got to think that a lot of play out in camp. I like where the pairs are. I mean, they made the playoffs last year. I think we're trying to make an improvement off of last year to try to maybe win a round. But obviously we got to get there first. I mean, a lot of the teams in our division are getting better as well. And I think familiarity is huge for players. You talk about Mikey Anderson and Drew, like these guys have played together. Why, and have had great success. Why would I want to interrupt that? So I'm going to come in. I'm going to allow you to make the decision. Who do you want with who? But I think as a foreseeable future, a near future, I might just keep the pairs the same. I may experiment in exhibition games just to see what it looks like. But for right now, I foresee with an agreement with Lavi is just trying to keep the pairs together.
You did mention Phil Eric Gustafson. It's a guy that you've coached before. I think he played every playoff game for you guys on an Eastern Conference Finals run, in New York, and offers, I think, a very different skill set than what the Kings have on the blue line right now. What could he bring to this group, and what could he maybe offer that's a little bit different than what was in place last year?
Well, I really enjoyed Gus. I mean, he came in and fulfilled a huge role for us. His mobility and his mobility to get into the play really helped us. He can move the puck. He has an idea what he's going to do with the puck when he gets in the retrieval mode and on breakouts. And he's got a knack of he's got a really good IQ for that. But I really like when he was able to skate and get up in the play and join the play, which is going to be a really required element coming in the camp. Just speaking with all the defense last week, just the guys, just to introduce myself and see how they're doing, see how their summer's going, and just relay a message from Lobby. We're going to attack the game, and that's going to require some conditioning from our D. They're going to have to get up ice. They're going to have to be involved in the offensive zone play. But Eric is really good at in the zone, picking his spots. I mean, when Adam Fox was out for an extended period of time, he jumped into that first power play unit and didn't miss a beat. So he can run a power play. He's got experience. He's very mobile, and he's ready. There's 7 really good defensemen back there, so it's going to be a little bit of a competition.
So this season there are 84 games in the regular season, which means only 4 preseason games and at least slightly shorter training camp than usual. With only 4 preseason games and less time in training camp, how does a player maximize that opportunity to seize a spot in the lineup or to show out at camp and show the coaching staff that they deserve ice time?
Well, it's more difficult, right? The magic number was 5-6 games. I mean, you're going to play 4 games. I would imagine that because of the 4 exhibition games, a lot of the veterans are probably playing the home games. So there's opportunity in those other 2 games, and it's unfortunate, but we've got to really get our team ready to go. If you understand what I'm saying, like we got to be full go when we have to go into Colorado, our opening game. So I think there will be times in camp where we're going to try to move some players around to give them the best opportunity to show what they got. But obviously, the guys some of them are that penciled in. We've got to get these guys going and ready for our opening game.
Phil, the group of defensemen that you're inheriting did a lot of things pretty well last year on the defensive side. You and Peter's teams, just looking statistically, always towards the top of the league in scoring from the blue line, goals, assists, points. Do you feel that you guys, with the way that you like your teams to play, can maybe coax a little bit more out of the group in that area as organizationally the Kings look to produce more offense?
Well, we have to. I mean, if we're gonna be really in the picture of a really good hockey team, right? We're gonna have to get some more production out of our defensemen without being a liability. We want to attack the game. They're going to have to get up in the rush. We have to create that 4-man attack. That's going to be a must, right? There's no negotiation on that. We've got to get up the ice, and I think we can. Just watching the playoffs, obviously Colorado's a good team, but you got 1 goal and 1 assist out of the 6 D that played. That how are you going to win hockey games? We got to be able to go under and slam walls, keep the puck and sustain pressure on the opposition. I don't know if they were able to do that last year, or I think they could have been a little bit more aggressive without being reckless, right? I mean, we got to have support from the forwards that when we're going to go in there and we may have even slammed down below the hash mark. That's how aggressive Lavi's system is, and that's why I love it, because that's what you have to do to keep the puck in the offensive zone and help the forwards out, sustain pressure on the opposition. So I think the guys were really excited about being more aggressive, but I do agree. Our number one priority is to play defense. That's our job, right? We're the last line of defense back there, and we have to defend hard. But in saying that, the best defense is a good offense, right? If you're up in the play and you're up there sustaining pressure and you get to be in the offensive zone, to me, that's the best defense. But like I said before, we're going to have to defend well. We've got a really good division this year, so it's going to be fun to get to know these guys and then allow them to do what they can do best.
Next one for me is a bit of a long and windy one, so apologize in advance. I don't really like dealing in what ifs, or if this game had gone this way, how would it have played out differently? But having said that, if 10 of the Kings' 20 overtime losses last year go the other way and are wins, the Kings win the division, and it's a much different season. So how familiar are you with the roster, with the results, and how confident are you that subtle tweaks to special teams might turn those overtime, losses into wins and might result in a much better season for the Kings?
Well, that's a great question. Lavi and I have had a huge agreement on having a plan 3-on-3 and 4-on-4. It's really important that guys understand the situation 3-on-3. I mean, we can talk about possession till we're blue in the face, right? That's the main thing, possession. But I think there's got to be some plans in certain areas of the ice, especially in the defensive zone, offensive zone. When you're getting into certain areas, you better have a plan where they can't double up and now you lose possession. So we have a really good structured plan 3-on-3 and 4-on-4, and I think it's going to help. I know New York, when our first year there, when we won the President's Trophy there, I mean, we had a great success in overtime. And I think you've got to allow the players to use their skills. That's why they're out there. But also within that framework is just have an idea what certain things might be a breakout, might be a neutral zone regroup. What are we going to do with the puck when we have total possession in the offensive zone and it's man on man? What are there ways we can create confusion and maybe see some better ice? So there's a lot of things that go into it, but I really, I've got 2 hours and 15 minutes of 3-on-3 that I'm watching right now and getting prepared for training camp. And I can see that just the structure a little bit could be better. And I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I think that had to play. I think they were attached to their guy too much. You can be in a 1-2 sort of a triangle, and just that will eventually evolve when you get into defensive zone. So there's some ways I think we can improve, especially when we don't have the puck.
2 hours and 15 minutes. You're only watching the first third of the LA Kings season last year.
It's crazy, man, how much time they were on how much overtime they had. And you're right. Like, those points are so valuable. I mean, you talk about going from, wild card team to first place, and now you're facing a different opponent. Maybe you've just increased your percentages of moving forward. So we're going to take a hard look at that when we get back. And I've got to have that meeting in place, and we're going to go up and down it and make sure we can relay the message to the players.
So I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but I did want to ask you about Brent Clark. We spoke with Lavi And he spoke about his excitement for you to be able to work with Brandt, and Brandt had a nice year last year. Production was good. He had 40 points, but I think the ceiling for him is even higher than that. Just your initial impressions on him from coaching against him and kind of seeing him play, and excitement to have him on your side.
I'm excited to work with him. And we talked last week a little bit about, Lobby's system. And I think everybody, including Grant, was really excited. And I'm excited. And I for a first introduction, it was nothing formal. We're just talking. But it's going to be much better when I get to LA at the end of August here to be able to really sit down and talk to these guys. But he's got a very good skill set, and I'm just going to try to help him. Yeah, but I think he's got. He's run the power play. He's got a good shot. He makes a crisp pass. So it'll be interesting to see him up close, to be able to really work with him and see what he has to bring to the game.
Phil, you had over 1,400, almost 1,500 games. You scored over 1,200 points. You had some unbelievable offensive seasons. Do you think it helps a player like Brandt Clarke to have a coach like you who played, who had a career that fit into the precise sort of specialist ceiling that we're looking at for a Brandt Clarke?
Well, of course, guys. No, I don't think it can hurt. I mean, that was my game. I loved getting up on the play. I loved leading the rush at times. And I've got some really good ideas for him. And I'd like to see him or RD in general to, hey, we can lead a rush. There's nothing in the rule book that says, hey, Cease, you got to go get, you're coming in the middle, you're fulfilling the center position, and you're in the pocket and you're going, let's go. You don't have to disperse it. Take the ice that's given to you and let's go play some offense. And I think it's true to any of the guys, but especially Brandt, because I think his mobility is really good. And looking forward to working with him.
Phil, one story I just want to tell you about Brandt Clarke real quick to hopefully instill some of the love that we all feel for Brandt Clarke. So during I think it was the year before he was drafted. It was during COVID, and so the league OHL was shut down, and he went to play, I believe in Slovakia, I think was where he went to play, the foreign league. And he was given an interview after he had come back, and the question was, Brandt, how did you adapt your game to play in a league full of adult men who aren't used to an offensive defenseman being part of the plan? And his answer was, with no arrogance, at least that I heard, no arrogance, no full of himself, just said, I didn't. They adapted to me. Once they realized how useful it was to have a rear guard who could bring the puck up, get it to them, and jump up into the play, they quickly adapted their games to his strengths, and it wound up being a really good season. So hopefully that's the kind of relationship that you can have with Brandt Clarke.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. And I know he played overseas there and came back. So that's good to know that he understands, I think, how without being a liability defensively, how important that is in today's game. I mean, you got to have it. Like you got to be five guys connected, moving through the zones, because you get spread out now. That creates gaps for the other team. And it's tough on the D when we can't get the puck to the forwards because there's that gap. So we're going to have to stay connected in all three zones a lot.
Well, just to continue my role as Brandt Clarke's agent, go ahead and look at his shot blocking numbers last season if you want to see where he's coming along.
Well, we would like to see him be shooting the puck a lot more on the blue lines and blocking shots, but that's just how I feel.
Phil Housley, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it.
Well, nice meeting you guys for the first time. We'll bump in the heads again, and thanks for having me.